Good morning, everyone. Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam alaikum. First, we're going to have a nice discussion about placemaking. Maybe during this discussion, we will discuss a little bit about signature moments. You all know what is a signature moment. So let me rehearse for you. Here, we are at the first edition of TOURISE. I'm very honored to be part of this first edition. And you know what? What you've just seen, this little merry-go-round, this is already your signature moments. Well done, guys. This is top. So, let me introduce you the people on stage. Just close to me, Jean-Marie Tritant.
Morning, Bertille.
He is the CEO and chairman of Westfield. I will say it simply for the people here. This means that he is leading more than 50 flagships in the world, in cities, in more than 15 cities in Europe, 8 in America. Am I correct? So approximately correct. I've heard that yesterday, the owner of a lot of hotels spoke about his share of night. You know, he's got some share of nights. He even says something like he was owning share of babies because he was owning so many share of nights. And I will say that Jean-Marie is owning share of Saturdays. Why? Because you can't imagine the number of people that are taking a walk in one of the Westfield big flagship during a Saturday. Approximately?
It depends on the season, but I would say 4 to 5 million. 5 million in the holiday season.
Okay.
Every Saturday.
Well done.
Thank you.
Next to you, Philippe Zuber.
Bonjour.
Nice to meet you. Philippe, for the first time of the 3 days, I say the first name correctly, because they are French. So, Philippe, you are the CEO of a massive group of hotels, I will say, Kerzner International. How do you pronounce it?
Kerzner International.
Kerzner International, sorry. Among them, there are ones that we know particularly, one and only hotel, but there is a huge success that you will tell us a little bit more about, which is Atlantis. So I will say that you own share of wonders and share of love.
Absolutely. With one and only being the place for romantic escape and all the honeymoon that's happening in our one and only around the world.
So this is so French, you know, share of love. My first question to both of you is how you take a functional place. What is your secret to take a functional place and turn it into a destination? I don't know who wants to start.
Maybe I will start. So I think first we don't only look at the functional place. We look first at the location. Okay. It's like in real estate, usually, you know, and in retail in particular, location is the key element of success, obviously. So the location, the quality of the trade area, the size of the location as well. I think size matters, a critical mass. And then, you know, the content. At the end of the day, we are creating content for the people to come. We have an audience, and you want the people to come to see you. So we work a lot on the content, and that's really, you know, the focus that we have. And we do it with a clear purpose, which is, you know, creating sustainable places that reinvent being together. So that's why the location is key, that's why the content is key, but you do it for the people. There is a purpose in what we do, it's reinventing being together. And for that, you need to have a very, you know, diversified offer. And the mix of retail, luxury, health and wellness, food and beverage is key to create the right level of program and content that will attract the people. In our assets today, if you look at it as a group, you know, for Westfield, you know, what is the share of fashion, according to you? How much fashion do we have in a mall?
Yeah, I will say maybe 15%.
15?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're very low. I would have expected 50%, but
No.
in fact it's 28%. 28% of fashion, pure fashion. You will have 13% of food and beverage, 12% of entertainment, cinemas, bowling alleys, these kind of things. 5% of health and wellness, 2% of fitness, and so on and so forth. And so that's this diversity that creates, the sense of a destination, because people need to, every time they come, they need to discover something new. And this is what we are working on. And then on top of that, we had an element of, curation of the animation and the events on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And we do that with our, internal communication and retail media agency called Westfield Rise, and where with the brands we work on the activations, physical activation, because we are physical places, we are a social, physical network, and we create the connections in between the people and the experience. And the beauty of that is that in our places, the people, they share as well their own experience on the digital networks and the social networks. So there's an amplification of what we do, and we give somehow the opportunity for the people to showcase what they're doing to their friends, which they like to do now. Is that people are spending a lot of time on social networks, on TikTok and other things. And we are giving them, somehow, the theater to be able to do it. So it's another reason to come to our places.
That's so cool. And do you feel that the people, they cross each other, they speak to each other sometimes? It creates some relationship between people?
It creates through the events that you create, and usually, depending on the type of events or the type of brands that you have, the people have the common interest because they go to see this activation or they go into that store. And the brands are working more and more on, the quality of, how do you welcome people, how do you interact with your customers, and it's creating these, billions of interactions in our places. This is why we say we are really a social place.
A meaningful place for people.
A meaningful place and a social place. That's why we have seen, the food and beverage increasing a lot in terms of sales and as well as in importance in our, retail mix since COVID. People have rediscovered the importance of, having direct interactions and having moments where they can share with their friends, with their families. And that's why we have, really evolved our, retail mix. And today we are also very confident based on what we are doing, because we do that every day. We are reviewing the curation of our offer every day. And today in Europe, for example, the Gen Z represents 31% or 30% of our, global traffic, foot traffic, while they represent only 19% of the population in Europe. So we are overweighted on the new generations, which give us really a lot of confidence in the fact that these destination places that we are working under the umbrella of the Westfield brand, are places that will continue to perform and attract people and having, creating this or meeting this purpose that we have, delivering on the purpose, which is reinvent being together. And I'm obviously very happy that we'll be able to do that, because we have 50 flagship destinations. In 2 weeks from now, we have 51, with the first Westfield branded asset in Daman, here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and 2 other, flagship destinations that will come in the course of 26. One in Riyadh, Westfield Riyadh, the other one in Jeddah, Westfield Jeddah, with our partner Cenomy Center. That are developing, assets that are complying and meeting exactly. We have the same vision around, the placemaking and how do you create destinations. So very, very confident and very happy of this partnership that we have with Cenomy Center here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Wonderful. So about wonders, because you are in the country of wonders.
Yeah.
How many Atlantis already?
So we have 3 Atlantis currently, and about placemaking, Kerzner International, amongst our 4 brands, Atlantis, One and Only, and Cyro and Rarefine, we are worldly recognized for unlocking destinations. So wherever we go, we are bringing the world to our destination, and we're becoming absolutely the destination of choice and unlocking a country. So this, we have proof point of that, but we are fascinated and passionate about the future of placemaking, and technically, the challenge that we do have is most of the time when you start to engaging with an ownership, when you start to sign an HMA, at the time you sign until the first guest will enter to the hotel, you have an average time of 5 years, sometimes longer than that. So it's about anticipating the future and what really makes sense. We believe at Kerzner International that above all, what's very, very important and really is a very important factor is to have architectural audacity.
Yeah.
So really have something that stands out and something that's becoming a talking point. This is really clear, and this requires courage. You need to be bold, you really need to go to something that the world has not experienced before. And as proof point, if you think about Atlantis, the Royal in Dubai, this is courage, this is bold, this is really something that's called architectural audacity. And that goes as a big scale, but can go to something a little bit more intimate and more unique as one and only Kia in Greece, or whatever example we do have. And then what is absolutely key in the world today is emotional intelligence, and is to put people before product. And you design for people.
Okay.
You design that you can operate, you can work, and then you're working with a human-first approach. And you're not differentiating guests and colleagues, you design for the entire ecosystem.
That's interesting.
Because
That's interesting because I think that very few people speak about this, how you design the ecosystem, also for the people that are working with you.
It's fundamental because all the emotions are provided by human, and hospitality, it's about bringing the human scale. And if you want to have transformative experiences, only human can deliver that. You can use AI, you can use many tools that is accessible to all of us, but you need the human to being able to orchestrate it and making sure that it's very, very unique. And the third element, which is really, really important, is purposeful transformation. Everyone talking about experiences, everybody talks, but people are going now to travel, they want more, they want a purpose. And something that we believe is very fundamental for Kerzner International, and the world will have to reflect on that, is ultra-luxury have to evolve to ultra-purpose. To really have reason, people want transformational stays, and really wants to have experiences at core. So one of our statements is creating amazing experiences and everlasting memories, but that really means that we have that in our DNA, and it has to go beyond the stays of the hotel. And something that we put amongst our team, we have totally shifted the KPIs. Usually KPIs is about occupancy, it's about EBITDA, it's about revenue per square meters. For us, it's emotional resonance per square meters. Anytime when you design a master plan, you have to make sure you stand extremely strong to saying anything had to create an emotion, anything has to be something that the guest and the colleagues can play for.
And will you give us an example? Because we would love an example of things like this.
So it's about the feeling. Today, luxury, it's about feeling and emotion. It's always been the clear is that if you go to a one and only, you need to have the feeling, you need to feel like James Bond.
Wow.
You need to enter. This is the feeling that he needs to give to you.
Yeah.
He needs to resonate it to you that the way that the entrance is curated, all the experiences that are done in a way that are centralized to yourself and you're surrounded by beauty. We pay a lot of effort on landscaping, outdoor. When people go on vacation, is to enjoy the outdoor. People make often the mistake to spend too much time to design the rooms. In fact, the terrace is where the guest will spend most of his vacation. How you create the terrace that you can have those meaningful moments, that it's comfortable, that from a conversation, you can have a nap, that from a nap, you can have a gathering with your entire family to share the love story that you had during the entire days, because it's a multi-generational destination. So this needs to be thoughtful from the way that you design. And it's, of course, from the arrival for the Grand of the Cascade. It's depending per brand. Because what really matters is that the brands are key because they are making the people working towards common values. Then you can deliver meaningful experiences. Then architecture is another element. Atlantis, it's about bold. It's about the grandeur. Atlantis has to be on your face. It's about maximalism. It's about really being on the top, but everything is curated, everything has a story. And when you design that, you will have to have a feeling like my example about James Bond. It's a cinematic approach.
That's very interesting, because this is part of my second question, is how do you script it, and how you keep a place for unscripted events? What I mean is storytelling is very important in both your success, I will say. How you script it?
I think, it's just, I was thinking, listening to Philippe, so we have exactly the same approach, in fact, which is the customer journey.
Okay.
And so you start by the customer journey, and then afterwards, you need to look at where you are located. I was talking about the location, the history, and how you, deeply root your design and customer journey in the history of the place. You cannot be, it's not because you are Westfield branded that there is no connection to the local culture, the local history, and this is where you need to combine in the way you look at the customer journey and the design. The part that is historical, the part that is, about, emotions. You were talking about emotions, and then the part that is about, innovation and curation. And that's what we are working with our teams, is really, this customer journey, and then how does it translate into something that would be meaningful for the local people? Because you do things, as you were saying, for people and local people, and that's what we are doing. The best example for us is, the latest delivery that we did in Hamburg, in the so-called Hafen city. So there is a maritime heritage in Hamburg, and this is what we have developed. And we have delivered a fantastic place where now we have 1.1 million visits per month in a city of 5 million people.
Incredible. Will you say us a word about this, the way to script things before?
Yeah, it's go beyond amenities. Everybody does now. Everyone has a spa, everyone has a restaurant, and this is all okay. The approach is you'll have to bring that to a theoretical approach. And it's about rituals. Making rituals obliging that experiences becoming part of a kind of a storytelling. I will say as well that it's about creating life and energy, and it's about placemaking. You cannot creating a place if you don't spend a lot of efforts to have the best of the A celebrities to go to that hotel and to tell a story. It's about creating myth, it's about placemaking. And this is whereby Kerzner is very strong at. It's an extraordinary example about the grand opening about Atlantis the Royal. It was the main act by Beyoncé.
Yeah.
It has generating 55 billion impressions. The entire world have heard about that. And now people are not saying they want to go to the penthouse, they say I want to go to the Beyoncé suite.
The power of Queen Bee.
Yeah,
so the superpower of Queen Bee. This is the end of the session. I have so many more questions for you guys. So what I suggest is maybe a second edition of TOURISE. It will be great. We have been very honored. Thank you so much.